I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sure.
Sutter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SutterHeyman.com.
Hi, it's Charlie Stone again, and with me on the line, Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I know how proud you and everyone at the dealership are to earn the prestigious Honda President's Award year after year.
From the playing fields to the sidelines, from Florida to California, from the Big 12 to the Big 10, welcome to the wide world of Raff. Live from the 93.7 The Ticket studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Chris Raff.
All righty now, that's what I'm talking about. We are here, the very first episode of the Wide World of Raff. I am your host, Chris Raff. Not really sure how this is going to go. You know, we just enjoy our time together here. But what I'm going to try to do during this show is try to bring on people that have impacted my life in the last 40 something years. We forgot that. Getting close to that number 50. But tonight, I had to bring on a man that he's been huge in my life for 30 years. Former Nebraska women's gymnastics head coach Dan Kindig. Dan, how are you tonight, brother?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on.
So yeah, I started the show, or we had to have ideas for the show and stuff like that. And I was like, I want to do something, like I said, people that have, meant a lot to me throughout my entire life. And, you've been there for, 65% of it now. That's a long time.
Well, thank you.
But so what I want to do basically with this show is just, let our listeners get to know the people better, get to know the people in Nebraska that, have been such an important part of it. You were, the gymnastics coach at Nebraska for 25 years. It was a very long time. I don't even know how long Nebraska women's gymnastics has been around for.
It's been since the 70s.
The 70s.
Yeah.
So you were there for a good half of it.
Yeah.
So Dan, where are you from? Where, what got you into gymnastics? The young Dan, we want to hear about I've never really heard much about the young Dan before.
Not that exciting.
What?
No, I was born in Kentucky, actually born in Cincinnati. That's not where the hospital, but grew up in Kentucky and got involved in the YMCA, and that's where it all started.
So was it gymnastics right away, or?
At the Y, you start out, you're in all these classes, you're doing so many different things. And then you kind of the big two at the time was probably either gymnastics or swimming, and did a little bit of both, but mainly gymnastics.
No, like football, baseball, or anything like that growing up?
You know what? In high school, the football coach tried to get me to come out, but it was one of those things. I was really involved at the Y at the time, and I was doing a lot of things down there, and he and I got along really well, and maybe my regret is I didn't, but at the time we got along so well, I actually taught a lot of his PE classes while I was in high school. So that was fun.
Nice. So did you come from a big family then? A lot of brothers and sisters?
2 brothers, 1 sister.
Were they any coaches there, or were they in different ways? No coaching or
no coaching from the rest of them. My older brother swam in high school, swam a little bit, and did gymnastics in college a little bit too. But when I went to the University of Kentucky, they dropped the men's team the year that I went down there. So
what'd you do when that happened?
Well, the coach was still the teaching in a physical education department. So I took the gymnastics class. I figured that'd be an easy grade, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the cheerleaders were in that class, and they kind of talked me into trying out for that and doing that. And it was fun. And got to meet a lot of people. It was a great experience, and was down there when they won the NCAA championship in basketball in '78. And that year, I think we were 40-3 in football and basketball that year. So we had a good season the one year. and won the national championship in St. Louis at the Checker Dome, 78.
The Checker Dome. And did you cheer that game then? Were you on the
I did.
on the court for that game?
I did.
That's cool.
That was when the goose was golden, is what the Sports Illustrated, when Jack Evans scored 41.
All right. So we got to bring this up. I talked about this a little bit with the Kentucky Derby. Dan is a Kentucky Derby horse and jockey guru. I don't know if Harrison's with us tonight, by the way. Harrison. So Dan, I think I told the story correctly, but I'm not 100% sure. So when you were a little kid, was it the Pepsi cans that had the horse and the jockey, or what was it that had the
buses? The buses in Northern Kentucky they were numbered 1900, 1901, 1902, on through, and they'd be coming in. The Derby winner would be on the door as you walked in, and catty corner in the back of the bus. And so that's how it started, that I got to know them all. And actually I've watched every Kentucky Derby since 1969, but have never been. So I think I found an avenue to get to go sometime soon. Because I know people that have been to the Derby. When I went to school at the University of Kentucky, and there were people that went to the Derby that never even saw a horse, much less the race. You get into the infield and it's just a big party, and I want to go see the race, since I've been watching them all since 69. So
have you ever been to one, Raff?
I have not been to one. We've got a friend that's coach at Kentucky right now, Kentucky Women's Gymnastics. So I'm waiting for him to, come with the invite for us, with all the pull he has down there.
That's right. Maybe it'll be sooner than we think.
So Tim Garrison, if you're listening, we want our invite ASAP, but it'll be a weekend that I'll have to work probably for the lottery. So I'll be like stuck, and Dan will be celebrating the greatness. So Harrison, are you ready for this?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Give Dan a year. Test him.
Okay, let's go 1983.
1983 was Sonny's Halo.
1999. We'll go my birthday.
99, Charismatic.
It's crazy. I'm not going to give you 73. That's too easy. 1971.
71 was Canonero the Second. 73, though, was my favorite.
Yeah,
obviously.
He was a pretty popular horse.
I've got a picture of me with my arm around Secretariat. And, the amazing thing about him, 50 years now, this was the 50th anniversary of him winning the Triple Crown. He still owns the track records for those three races 50 years later. And not only that, the record he had at Belmont for 1.5 miles is still the world record.
That's crazy.
And then we do have a call real quick, by the way, if you want to get to it.
Yeah, let's bring it on.
All right, go ahead. You are on 93.7 The Ticket. Who is this?
Who is this?
Ken Digg.
Oh, my goodness.
Look who we got calling in.
You know what?
Aren't you so impressed?
I am so impressed that you called, because I wanted to share.
Listen to this.
My
Harrison.
congratulations to everybody that you are going to be inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame at the University of Nebraska. Pretty special.
Yay.
For all of you listening right now, we have got formerly Emily Parsons. Now she is Emily James, but we've got Nebraska's newest Hall of Famer going in with Mr. Tommy Frazier and Laura Endicott, and I forgot the other ones we were talking about before we came on the air, but
Tolly Thompson, Gary Pepin,
and
there was a soccer player. I can't remember her name right now.
Brittany Timko.
Yes, Brittany.
Yeah.
So Emily, I got to ask you, now that you're a Hall of Famer now. I mean, this is forever. What kind of credit would you give Dan Kindig on that accomplishment?
I mean, it's all Dan. He's the one that got me to Lincoln. He's the one that coached me all 4 years. I mean, we still talk to this day. I talked to him yesterday, actually. But, his coaching, his willingness to be patient with me, teaching me all the ins and outs of just being a collegiate gymnast and everything that entails. It was definitely not easy at the beginning. Just going from being homeschooled to going to college, that was a big difference. So just getting all those different ducks in a row. He was really good at helping and pushing and, just being there when I needed him to be there. So definitely Dan is a big part of it.
That's awesome.
Well, she was easy to coach, and She won more event titles than anybody in the history of women's gymnastics here at Nebraska, and that's pretty special.
I believe it was in the hundreds, wasn't it?
You
Yeah.
probably know the exact number. Her dad figured it out, and I was a little bit off, but I do know it's the most.
I think I remember the last time we had this conversation trying to figure it out. I think it was like 111 maybe. So I think we thought
somewhere
it was
between
114,
111 and 117, somewhere in there.
Good
Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah,
That is
it's somewhere in there.
that is astronomical. That
So
is a
it's
lot.
pretty cool because that still is the record. So
I don't
that.
I don't think it ever gets beat.
Well, it's been 15 years, so it's pretty cool that it.
Yeah, I
Wait a
think
minute.
No.
You've been gone for 15 years?
I've been graduated for 15 years. That's how old I am.
Oh man, that is awesome. So
Pretty
Dan,
cool.
I ask you if you could describe Emily now. What would be your description if somebody said, well, you'll probably get asked this, she's a Hall of Famer now. How would you describe Emily?
Well, she's powerful. She really loved what she was doing, and it showed in her performances, and she wound up being quite a bit of a leader because she cared about it. And so, everybody buys into that same thing. So I think that whole group, her 4 years, I think it was really something special.
Awesome.
Yeah, we had a good group.
Very cool. Well, Emily, thank you so much for calling in tonight. I was hoping you could make it happen, and you did. We hear those kids in the
My
background.
kids.
We got some,
Yeah, they're eating pizza, so they're happy.
got some future gymnasts in the future, probably, or maybe some.
I don't know about that. Maybe one of them.
Maybe
but
some football players.
The other
maybe.
one doesn't care. So yeah, maybe. Who knows?
If any of them go to Texas, though, we're going to have to probably take away your Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I don't think they'll go to Texas. My husband probably wouldn't allow that either.
There we go. All right, no A&M either.
Well, see, now they're fighting.
Now it's
So,
going crazy. Well, thanks so much for calling tonight. I really appreciate it, and congratulations once again.
Thank you. Absolutely.
All right, have a good night.
Bye.
See ya.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Well, that worked out nicely.
Yeah.
Surprise.
So I was I don't know how I was going to weave that in tonight, but that made it easy.
I try to surprise people from time to time. We had AD's birthday bash, and we did pretty good there. So I was like, what can I do for Kindig? He's going to be there tonight. And it was funny because I saw they just announced that Emily was going to be a Hall of Famer. And I was like, oh, I'll give it a shot. So I got a hold of her real quick, and she's like, well, I don't know, the kids, they're going to, I'm like, oh, maybe if you can just sneak in 5 minutes or so. So that's pretty cool that she was able to call in. I mean, that's pretty awesome. That's a forever award. So
Well, thank you for that.
that goes, directly to you. I believe, just because if you don't have good coaching when you get to college, none of that happens without you. So that's pretty awesome.
Well, I was blessed with great gymnasts and great assistants to help along the way, and so it's been really, really good.
But we're not there yet. We're still moving our way up through the Dan Kindig life here.
Okay,
So,
we're still back in college.
we're still back in college. All right. So Kentucky basketball wins the national championship. Now, what grade were you a senior that year? Was that
Probably no, as a junior, I think.
junior? Okay, so you have your senior year, graduate. Maybe, I don't know. You might have had the Raff plan where you.
I had a bigger plan. It wasn't just 1, 2, 3, 4, and
Oh,
done.
good. You were on the Raff plan
I was
too?
on a little bit different plan.
The Raff
but,
plan's always classic.
and a lot of that was due to the fact that the women's gymnastics coach got a hold of me and wanted me to be her assistant, and she didn't even have an assistant up till that point. And I actually turned her down 3 times just because I was doing a lot of other things. And finally, and it wasn't like I was holding out for more. It was like, but finally I was getting free tuition, free room, board, because I was already an RA for the football team. So figured out I'd be going to school for free. So best years of your life, why not extend them?
That's what I said. Then I had some gymnastics coach that kept me up late at night, Harrison, all the time. He's always like, you want to play Sports Jeopardy? And I was like, all right, Dan, sounds good. So we used to sit up in Maple Lee Hall and play Sports Jeopardy till all hours of the night.
That makes sense. Talking to you today, Raff, I can definitely tell that was a hobby of your past, doing Sports Jeopardy.
A lot of Sports Jeopardy. Okay, so you're helping out with gymnastics team, finally finish up at Kentucky. Where do you go next?
Well, I was there for 2 years as the assistant coach. And in the interim, I started working at Woodward Gymnastics Camp in Pennsylvania. And just one thing led to another. And I was up there, and I thought I was going to live in Kentucky my whole life. Loved it. I still call it God's country, because of such a small state, all the things that it has, and the rolling meadows and the horse farms in Central, and you got Mammoth Cave, you got the Kentucky. I mean, you've got the whole gamut of anything you want in that state. But I met Woodward, and one of the gymnasts at Woodward was from the University of Nebraska, and they were looking for an assistant. And every day it was like, you going to apply? You going to apply? You going to apply? And finally, honestly, I just applied, thought, I'm not going to get that right. I'm 2 years in here, and I had no idea how things were working. And so I applied, and the time I put into it was we had a dance rotation, and a different dance instructor taught that 45 minutes. So during that 45 minutes, I wrote a letter and my resume out in a car with somebody, with one of the other coaches I was coaching with, and sent it in. And well, lo and behold, I was offered the job.
And that was 82?
I was 80.
80. I was 80.
80
okay.
to 83.
80 to 83. So were you here the year of the scoring explosion and Micro's year?
I was. What a great time to be here.
Do you go to every game that year? Or?
Oh, yes. Yep. And I mean, just you didn't get to know, Turner Gill and that, down the road, and those players, and just being a part of the athletic department during that time.
No, I was told that, we had to be nice tonight. So I got to ask you, I mean, Francis Allen, how was he in the early 80s? Has there been any change from the 80s till now?
I don't know how he does it, because I don't see any change. He's the same today as he was back then. And I mean, just a great coach, obviously, through the years when he was coaching, but he just cares. He cares about gymnastics, and it doesn't matter if you're a 7-year-old girl, learning your first cartwheel all the way up to an Olympian, and he just cares about gymnastics and just loves the sport, and it shows, just being around him.
That's awesome. Harrison, are we up close to a first break?
We can go now, or we got about 4 minutes.
Okay, let's send it to break now, and then we'll talk about how Dan ends up away from Nebraska and back at Nebraska, and then so we'll cover Dan. So, all right, we'll throw it to break right now. This is the Wide World of Raff. This is 93.7. The Ticket.
Repeat after me. I will not touch the fuse box.
I will probably not touch the fuse box.
Sip, do you remember what happened last time?
Yeah, I remember.
What happened?
Half of the city block lost power.
And?
My chicken condo went haywire.
That's right. The chickens ran wild. So what do we do instead?
Call Joe at Ambition Electric and let him handle everything. Look, saved on speed dial.
Ambition Electric, 402-217-3415, or online at ambitionelectric.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here with Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and it is Truck Month at Koppel, and we are pulling out all of the stops for this gigantic event. The lots are starting to fill, and we have some great deals for you waiting in Louisville. Brand new GMC Sierra Light Duty and new Silverado Light Duty trucks. All trim levels have up to $4,000 in discounts. That's right, up to $4,000 off all new light duty trucks right now at Koppel, so do not wait. Now is the time to buy a new truck, so stop on in or visit us online at koppelcars.com. You must have a trade-in and finance with Koppel. All deals with approved credit.
The best way to learn about Southeast Community College is to visit. And you can check out our spaces before you visit in person with a virtual campus tour. An opportunity to see our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, and Milford as you learn about our programs and areas of study. There are virtual tours of our learning centers too. We can even take you on a personalized virtual tour. Learn more on our website, southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
You finally finished your man cave in the basement. Brand new furniture, huge TV, and all of your collector's items. You're ready for football season. You are so excited until one bad rain and it is all ruined. Don't risk a flooded basement and countless dollars in damages when it can be avoided. Call John Henry's today for a free sump pump estimate for your home.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing. Heating and air.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for Ready Mix Concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical, and retirement benefits, paid time off, and we pay for CDL training. Apply today to earn an average total compensation of $50,000 to $60,000 your first year driving. From Nebco's beginnings in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Guys, when I first started with Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, I weighed in at over 300 pounds. Now, less than a year later, I'm under 200 pounds for the first time since high school. I'm stronger, I'm healthier, and it all began with the Farrell's 10-week challenge. 10 weeks of kickboxing, strength training, and guided nutrition coaching to help you reach your fitness goals. Their next 10-week challenge begins on April 8th. If you're wanting to change your life like I have, head to theticketfm.com and click on Enroll Now on the homepage. Plus, get a promo code for a discount just for ticket listeners. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping.
Attention all Wings fans. 89-cent wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln. Enjoy the best wings in town for boneless or traditional at a price that makes the whole family happy. And now at the Williamsburg Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Michelob Ultra every day after 7 p.m. and all day on Sundays. Get to Wings and Rings today and make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89-cent wings.
If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, listen up. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197. Repeat after me. I will not touch the fuse box.
I will probably not touch the fuse box.
Sip, do you remember what happened last time?
Yeah, I remember.
What happened?
Half of the city block lost power.
And?
My chicken condo went haywire.
That's right. The chickens ran wild. So what do we do instead?
Call Joe at Ambition Electric and let him handle everything. Look, saved on speed dial.
Ambition Electric, 402-217-3415 or online at ambitionelectric.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here with Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and it is Truck Month at Koppel, and we are pulling out all of the stops for this gigantic event. The lots are starting to fill, and we have some great deals for you waiting in Louisville. Brand new GMC Sierra Light Duty and new Silverado Light Duty trucks. All trim levels have up to $4,000 in discounts. That's right, up to $4,000 off all new light duty trucks right now at Koppel, so do not wait. Now is the time to buy a new truck, so stop on in or visit us online at koppelcars.com. You must have a trade-in and finance with Koppel. All deals with approved credit.
The best way to learn about Southeast Community College is to visit.
Welcome back to the wide world of Raff on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, everybody, we are back again. This is the wide world of Raff. I am joined by special guest Dan Kindig tonight, former women's Nebraska gymnastics coach at Nebraska. I said that twice. Don't worry about it. I was more worried about saying welcome back to the drive, but I didn't. I saved that, but then I ruined it with the Nebraska. But you never can say Nebraska too much. So, all right, Dan. So you're at Nebraska, 80-83. Who was the head coach back then?
That was Judy Schock.
Judy Schock. Okay. So I guess the time has come that you've been an assistant coach. Is this where you decide to make the jump to become a head coach?
Well, I'm not sure at that point what I was going to do. She resigned.
Oh.
And so then, they hired a new coach. But in the interim, I stayed and helped the team until then. And back then, the school only had, or schools were only permitted to have 2 coaches. And they hired a male. So
guess what?
I packed my bags and moved on. But I went back to Woodward. And as the summer went on, a job opened up just down the road from Woodward in Indiana, Pennsylvania. So I coached at a school called IUP, Indiana University of Pennsylvania, for 9 years.
Oh, you were there for 9. I did not know you were there for 9 years.
Won 2 national championships in D2. And it had a good run. We were in, if you drew a circle around Indiana, PA, all the clubs in that northern, area, we were able to get a lot of good kids. And maybe they were only doing 1 or 2 events, but we were really successful, even against D1 teams back there.
Wow. Do you still talk to a lot of those girls from those teams?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
and then from there, they were dropping the program. We had a nice facility. The head football coach wanted that facility for, how that all works out. But anyway, so the day that I moved out of the office, I knew I wasn't going to be back there, but the athletes on the team filed a Title IX lawsuit, and the program was saved for a while. But I went back to Woodward, and a job opened up at Cornell. They were going through the same issue, and they were going to drop the following year. And the head coach there decided to go up the street to Cortland so he didn't have to move. And so Cornell was looking for a coach for 1 year, and it was getting to be almost September. And I said, it was one of the best jobs I actually had. Went up there and coached in the Ivy League. And I always tell people I taught in the Ivy League. So I had to teach a couple classes. But no, it was good. It was those kids were there doing gymnastics because they wanted to. And there were days I sent kids home from the practice because, studying up there and the competition in the classroom, and they'd still come in and try to do. I'd be like, just go home, get some rest, come back. You'll get more done tomorrow than if you tried to stay.
Wow.
And really, they worked hard. It was actually a great year.
I was laughing today. I was doing a Google search just to see, what would pop up on Dan Kiddig. And I thought I was going to have to break some news here tonight. Was Cornell still has Dan Kindig is listed as the head coach on one of their sites.
Oh, wow. I was only there 1 year.
I know.
What year is this? What was it again?
That would have been, 92, the 92 season.
So they're about 20 or man, they're way back on.
It was so funny. It pulled up Dan Kindig, head coach Cornell. And I was like, oh man, are we breaking news tonight? Is Dan making the return? But I was but then I was like, oh, they must have just always stayed up there ever since you were there. So you're still on the internet, head coach of Cornell.
Well, Melanie wouldn't be happy about that.
All right. So it's been 1 year at Cornell. I guess the time has come to make your return back to Nebraska. How did all that take place?
When I was here in the 80s, I just always told people, I said, if I ever had an opportunity to come back, I would love to, because I've been to a lot of different schools and enjoyed everywhere I'd been, but there wasn't a school that supported all their sports. There was, even when I was at IUP, gymnastics was one of the priority sports. And so, that was kind of weird, but at Nebraska, they promoted and they, took care of every sport the same. And it was pretty equal across the board. And, that football was the cash cow and everything, and they got their thing. But for the most part, every sport got everything they needed to be successful. And so the opportunity opened up, the job opened up, and Francis called me, and I was able to, make it back and be part of the program. And 25 years later.
So you were one of the first two, I believe, with new athletic director Bill Byrne at the time.
Yes, I was actually his first hire.
So that's pretty decent first hire for Coach Byrne.
Yeah,
athletic director Byrne.
Yeah, Bill was great. Bill and his wife were both great, and you hate to talk about different things, but when I was here during that regime, it really was a family. It really was a family affair. And back then, even with football, his staff stayed the same. People didn't leave Nebraska. People wanted to be a part of this program, regardless of what sport and regardless of what was going on. And I think a lot of that comes from the top.
Yep. So you take over the university, your first year. What was like, usually you have the new coach coming in, you have the girls that have been there before. What was it like for you, like culture wise? How did you go about that first year, shaping it into being the program that it became?
Well, a lot of it was, had to hire staff. And so I relied a little bit on my upper class at the time. That I had 4 juniors and a senior, and talked to them a little bit about, what needs to happen and things. And just to get an idea from them, right? It wasn't like they were going to run the program, but I gave them a little bit of, feeling like, they're a big part of this, right? And so I wound up hiring a staff, and that group rallied around, and we won the Big 8 championship. That's when the first year.
That was your first year you won that.
We won the last 3 Big 8s and the first 3 Big 12s. So we won the first 6 years in the conference.
I always wanted to ask you this question. Where do you keep the rings?
As Emily James said too off Facebook, she says Kendig is the OG, so we have that in there as well. And your resume speaks for it.
I mean, where are all the rings at? Because you have 16 conference championships.
You, like I said, you probably know more than I do. They're in my house somewhere.
You don't have them all together, or they're just out and about? And
they're in my house.
They're in your house. Okay. I don't know if they're on display or So.
No, it'd probably be a good thing to put together.
But you know where all 16 of them are at.
Oh, absolutely. They're all in the same place.
That's what I was wondering. I wasn't sure if maybe throughout the years you're like giving them away as like
no
little trinkets.
They're under lock and key. I mean, you're just proud of something like that. And I'm not the kind of guy that wears jewelry, period. But it was almost like they're like trophies, what I mean? And you just treat them as such because they mean so much. It means being a part of a team and a program and actually that team of each of those years that put it all together when they had to and was, as Dr. Whitman likes to say, maxed out when it mattered the most. Yep. And we were able to win those championships.
That's awesome. And, since it's my show, I get to ask all the questions I've always wanted to ask. So the rings, now were those team designed rings, or how do you go about your ring designs? Were they by the team, or how did you go about that?
I generally allowed my seniors to design the ladies' rings, and the coaches got together and designed the coaches' rings. And so it wasn't like, it wasn't a dictatorship that I went out and designed all these, because you know what? Some of the times the women wanted women rings, but then sometimes they wanted the bigger rings, like a trophy ring, like a guy's ring. Yep. And so that was their call, and so we just made it a point, with the coaches and stuff, to try to do something a little different each year so they didn't all look the same.
I always wanted to ask that question. And
rings are always fascinating too. That's one of my favorite things to do. You go through the Super Bowl rings like year by year. Those first ones, same template. Bigger. Yeah. And then now we're at unreal levels.
Oh, yeah. How can you even wear those, right?
Have you seen the last one where it opens up the top? You can look at the stadium and everything. It's insane. It just comes apart.
We didn't have that kind of budget for those.
I can imagine.
You open up the ring and it's got a picture of Maple Lee Hall.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is so funny. All right, so we got to Nebraska. You win the first three of the Big 12, last 3 of the Big 8. Recruiting. How is it recruiting in those early years?
You just got to recruit to your strengths. You know what I mean? We didn't have beaches like some places had, or the mountains, and in some ways it was easier to recruit than that, because I knew if I got an athlete to the University of Nebraska because of gymnastics, they were coming for gymnastics. So we got to show them what we had, the facilities we had, the academics that we had, just the whole gamut of our athletic department, what it stood for and what it meant, and what we stood for and what we wanted to accomplish. And so I knew that if I got somebody on campus, I had a really good chance of being able to get them to commit to the University of Nebraska. Now, it didn't always happen, but we were fortunate to get a lot of great athletes.
So in today's world of the NIL, do you think that would still be something possible where you'd still be able to be a successful recruiter, or do you think that would play into maybe making things a little bit tougher?
Well, I think it'd be tougher because some schools are obviously going to, just like some schools are going to have more resources than others, you know what I mean? So it's going to be tough. And a lot of just my philosophy of things, I'm glad that I did not have to coach during an NIL period.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, that's not what it's all about. They're getting a free education. And even with the NCAA, each year toward the end, it started to be like, okay, and then we're going to give them this much cost of living, and then we're going to give them this much more, and so they were already getting a little more than just that. And I understand the purpose of it, because I really feel like, over the years, maybe we had athletes that had other, strengths, and they wanted to go pursue those, but they weren't able to because they were using their name and image to make a buck. And in that aspect, NIL is very good, but it's not that. it's gone way overboard.
Yeah.
And now it's to the point where, recruits are coming on campus and how much can I get?
Yeah.
And that's not the way this is all. I mean, that's not amateur sports.
Yeah. I feel the same way.
Raff, I wonder how you feel about it. I'm curious because I feel like today, especially, a lot of these numbers are getting inflated.
Oh yeah,
with these agents, like it's insane, and a lot of this paperwork, kind of what I'm hearing, it's not very certain, and you're getting promised millions of dollars, and then it's just kind of going around. Now everyone has these crazy inflated numbers. I don't know how you even recruit based off NIL with the numbers going around.
I go back to all the time. I'm like, the NCAA has made the mess that they have.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame any of the students for going for the money that they can get.
No, and you can't.
If it's there, you can't blame them. I blame those people in those higher up positions that made this situation. There's so many other ways that they could have. I mean, they had 30 years. You look back 30 years ago, Ernie Chambers put a thing into the unicameral, trying to get athletes paid, and in a way that was could have been controlled. And they had 30 years to think about this, and after 30 years passes, you're dealing with just a complete, like me and AD says it a ton, about the toothpaste. They've squirted out the toothpaste, and you try to put toothpaste back into the bottle once it's hard to get back in there. And I think it's not going to be a good, I don't want to say if there'll be an ending, but it's going to be it'll be a slanted playing field, and it's just things. It's not what it was meant to be. Like Dan said, that it was supposed to be, get an education, but
if teams did what they're doing now years ago, they'd have been on the death penalty. I mean, that's just unbelievable. The millions of dollars it's taken to get some of these athletes to come and be a part of your program. And that's just not what I think it's about.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely gets harder to build that culture too. In a lot of ways, are you saying with the numbers, you kind of know everyone's number above their head, the locker room, and it is tricky because the athletes should get that money. I just get worried too about, where does all that money go? Does it really all go to the athlete? Like there's so many third parties in it now that it's all very convoluted.
Yep. It's a mess. It's hard it stinks, but that's the way it is. And got to deal with it. And like Trev Alberts always says, these are kind of the cards you're dealt, and we're going to play them the best we can. So I look forward to seeing what happens there. All right. So where are we sitting? We ready to go to another commercial and then come back and wrap it up?
Yeah, we can go break right here.
Okay, let's go to break right here. And then I have questions for Dan that I've been dying to ask. So,
oh boy.
So we'll send it to break. This is the Wide World of Raff, 93.7 The Ticket.
Agriculture is the economic engine of the Midwest. At Acres Equipment, we dedicate ourselves to making that engine run smoothly. We supply our farmers and ranchers with quality John Deere equipment, parts, and service. We also deliver the most advanced technology and precision ag strategies to help them farm today and for the future. Acres Equipment, solutions for every field.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has come to the attention of the Nebraska Lottery that when people hear a radio commercial in their car for one of our lotto games, Powerball, Mega Millions, or Lucky for Life, they tend to begin daydreaming about how they'll spend the prize money if they win, instead of paying attention to the road. So please, when I tell you that Nebraska Lottery Lotto games offer big money and big fun, keep your mind on driving. Do not start thinking about all the things you could buy if you win. Things like bright red sports cars, tropical vacations, 100-inch TVs, hot tubs, SUVs, a new computer, motorboats.
Bob, snap out of it.
Oh, good heavens. Ladies and gentlemen, my apologies. Perhaps I should go home now.
You better let me drive.
Lotto games from the Nebraska Lottery. Top prize odds vary by game.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $24.11 per hour, which grows to $28.27 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $32.76 per hour with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. hires. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here, summer is fast approaching. With weddings, vacations, and weekend getaways on your mind, do not let car issues prevent you from getting where you need to be. Car problems shouldn't be something that you put up with. Let us get you back on the road in comfort and safety. We diagnose all makes and models from Porsches to Hondas, Toyotas, and Chevrolets. We fix a variety of issues with all of them with our talented techs and our experienced staff. A1 Automotive at 11th and L, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
Steve's Garage Doors and Services is hiring. They are looking for a garage door installation and service technician with a clean driving record. Experience is not required as they will train for the positions. However, mechanical aptitude is required. If you want to come be a part of a small business where you're family, not just an employee, call Steve's Garage Doors and Services today to apply at 402-480-2840. That's 402-480-2840. Steve's Garage Doors and Services.
This Easter, focus on your family instead of dishes with the Venue Easter to-go meals. Prepared fresh in-house by our chefs, these meals are ready to heat and eat with packages for 2 to 3 people or 6 to 8 and your choice of juicy beef tenderloin, tasty herb roasted chicken, or our famous 6-pepper crusted prime rib. All meal packages come with sides and we have additional add-ons available to complete your feast. Order today at venuedelivered.com/Easter. That's venuedelivered.com/Easter.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Welcome back to the wide world of Raff on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, everybody, we're back again. The wide world of Raff, 93.7 The Ticket. Wrapping up a great first show with the man, the myth, the legend, Dan Kendig. All right, Dan, got to ask you a question. I'm not going to ask you who your favorite gymnast of all time was. I think that would probably not be fair to you. But I am going to ask you, what was your favorite gymnastics meet of all time?
Well, that's a good one. We had some really good ones with conference championships and stuff, but I'd still have to say hosting nationals in 2003 was a pretty special day. The prelims, we came out of the prelims, number 1 going into finals, and the crowd was unbelievable that next day. We had over 7,500 people in the arena in Badavani, and people were lined up outside because they didn't have tickets coming in. You know, I
didn't have one either.
People, I mean, the
day.
lines were long, and I mean, the crowd was loud and was great, and it was one of the best meets. I know that we took 4th that year after everything, but we were, of the 4 teams, we had 2 falls and the other ones had 3, but they had 1 in each event. We had 2 falls on one event. And so we had to count a fall. They didn't have to count the fall. And that's how much we lost winning a national title from.
That's awesome. And then Dan would never mention this, but he's too humble. But I would have to say that you probably have one of the best coaching trees in the country going right now with the coaches that you've placed in positions all over the country. Maybe you could speak on that a little bit if you want. You don't have to, but I know you're humble, but I had to ask.
Well, I think that's what's fun about now being retired and being out. So I can still travel to the schools where former coaches are. Like I go to Florida and there's 3 of their 4 coaches came from Nebraska. Kentucky, you know, Tim's down there, which we talked about. Dan is at North Carolina. Caitlin Orr, one of my athletes, is at Linwood. Jesse DeZiel's up at Wisconsin Clare. And during the season, I make it to all those places to sometimes spend a week, spend, a little more, a little less. And it's fun going around. So you still keep your hands in what's going on and seeing what's going on and get to see great competition each of those weekends. And I mean, it's been fun. I mean, like I told you earlier, I've been blessed with good coaches. Like I said, Adrian, Owen, and Jeremy are down in Florida, and I already talked about Tim and all the rest of them. But it's been really good, and I was blessed with good help here at Nebraska. Dr. Widman and I worked really, really well together the years that we worked together, and we came up with a lot of great things to make our teams better, and I owe a lot of that to him.
That's awesome. I had a question and it totally left me. I got entranced with the Dan Kindig answer.
I got one just because.
Yes, here we go. Here we go. Save me, Harrison.
So out of all those coaches, I know you're talking, they're all doing well on their own now, but is there a unique trait that you guys felt like you all kind of shared that you see has allowed that access to not just only work at Nebraska, but at other places?
I'd say just a passion, I mean, you can't do this sport if you're not passionate about it, and I know I mentioned all those others, but I forgot Heather here at in Nebraska.
Right. Oh, yeah,
but
her.
That's really important too. But
you didn't forget about JH, I promise.
But like I said, it's been great. It's been a great experience. I wouldn't trade anything, for anything else. I loved it here at Nebraska, and it's one of those things sometimes you move on, and now I'm enjoying other things too. I'm enjoying traveling, and I'm enjoying, the trips I've taken since I've been done. It's unbelievable. And it's get to see the world.
You still talk to a bunch of the Nebraska girls?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Either texting or it's great when they all come back for reunions, and it's, it just makes for great weekends.
So we were talking at the break. So you're here for 25 years. Your average ranking over those 25 years is 7th. Now, for anybody that's listening tonight and had never seen the practice facility at Nebraska over the 25 years where Dan coached at, I don't even know, the last 5 years, I think they made it a little bit bigger. I'm not sure. But the first 20 you're in, basically it was I don't even know if you even call it a gymnasium, what that was.
It was a nice gym. I mean, you work with what you have.
Yep.
Kind of like you said, Trev talks about, it's the hand you're dealt. You do the best you can with that. And all the way from Bill Byrne until it finally happened, everyone says, we're going to get a new facility. We're working on a facility. Tom Osborne said that when he came in, and we weren't able to get a new one, but we were able to knock out a wall and make our gym that much better for those years from, when he came in. And I was really appreciative of that. And then finally we were able to get the new facility over by Devaney. And I mean, facilities are important, but it's the people. It's the people.
I agree. Oh, more questions.
I'm kind of curious. You said you've been enjoying the trip part of your life now.
You stole my question. Harrison, that's why we blend so well.
You're talking about how at this point in your life, you're really enjoying being able to go on more trips, whether that's going to see some of the former, coaching staff members that you knew, or just enjoying trip personally. What are some of those trips that you've been enjoying lately?
Wow. Went to the Holy Land. We did a lot of cruises through the Mediterranean, the Panama Canal. We're down to Machu Picchu. We're going back to England, or going to England. We're going to have a British Isles cruise coming up, and went to Australia, New Zealand. And I mean, it's just been fun getting to go to places you wanted to always go to, but I was pretty much committed to the job.
Yeah. So you've always wanted to travel though? Like
always,
early age?
Yeah.
Okay.
Always enjoyed it. And actually it started, well, I don't know when it started, but when we were kids, we got a camper.
Okay.
And my dad wasn't sure how that was going to work with my mom. And because she wasn't too keen on sleeping out on the ground all the time, but we got a camper, and it wound up something she enjoyed. And so we got a bigger, nicer camper, and we really traveled around a lot of the state parks. And so, I mean, in my early years, I stayed in Kentucky, Indiana, and Ohio, 3 states. But now I've been to all 50. I've been to most of Canada, most of South America. But it's just been fun. And it's been one of those things when my mom finally passed away, we decided no more gifts for Christmas. Our family, my 2 brothers, we're going to keep our money. And our gift to each other is to travel together. So that was our gift. And so, I mean, it's worked out really, really well.
How many countries have you been to?
Well, I'd say quite a few. I know the one trip this year, we went to 11 different countries over in Europe.
Oh man.
On one of our cruises. And of those 11, 10 were new countries. So that was fun.
And where's next, Daniel?
Well, headed to Latvia. My younger brother's church is doing a mission trip up there. They're trying to repurpose a building for a church. So we got to go up and work for a week. So that'll actually be kind of fun too.
Have you found your hammer and your tool belt yet? Ready to go?
I got the hammer, but I still got to head to the store and get a tape measure that also has metric.
Oh, yeah.
But no, and then after that, we got the British Isles cruise in August. So that'll be fun.
That's awesome. Well, Daniel, Mr. Kindig, Coach Kindig, Legend Kindig, I want to thank you so much for having you, for letting you come on. Oh, man. I'm all flustered. I'm all flustered.
Thanks for having me on the show. I loved it.
I get nervous when I'm around greatness. That's what happens. So, Daniel, it's been a lot to have you here tonight. Really appreciate it. Everyone listening, it's been the first show of the Wide World of Raff. We will be back next week, but thank you so much for joining, and we will talk to you later.